Welcome to part 2 of this week's preview of the tournament, COD XP, where it's an over $2 million prize pool of 32 teams in pool play, and it goes to a double elimination bracket where the winner wins the grand prize. This is the tournament that players been playing for all year. This is what they've been feeding for all year long, and this is where you'll finally see the true legends come out and really get things done. Yesterday we did Group A and B. Today we're now doing Group C and D to see who will broke out of that group, what games in that group will be more intriguing, what would be the most interesting pieces that the group will bring from the tournament. We'll start with Group C. And we're going to start with the big dogs of the group, Luminosity Gaming. Luminosity's had an interesting year. First they started stage 2 with TP, and they switched from him to Nameless. They also had John for a good minute, but they switched from John to Study. Now, this current team that is now not just Study and Nameless, they also have Saints, and they also have, I want to say, one second, Saints, Study, Spacely. I'm sorry, that's the name just flowed out of my mind. Saints, Study, Spacely, and Nameless. Now this is a very interesting team. This team, Stage 2, really showed up, especially in Stage 2 playoffs when they showed up to beat the top team in all of COD right now, Optic Gaming, in the first round, going 4-3, Game 7. When they really excelled was their Search and Destroy, which they ended up really dominating that. Really outshone them in that sense. But in the next round, they get upsetted by a Dream Team at the time that ended up being in the final, losing handedly to an Envy team that's turning up to be the other powerhouse of the COD community right now. But this team has potential. When you talk about potential, I'm talking about Study with the sniper, Study with the sniper and SMG, Spacely who's a bit diverse in this game, Saints who's a good slayer, and Nameless is basically the guy who comes with the knowledge. He's one of the older parts of the group. He's one of the guys that could really been around since his Team Caliber days. His Envy days, when he was on Envy. That match between Envy and Team Caliber was a classic, but he's been around for many years as a Call of Duty player. So when you think about Nameless, you think about past Call of Duties. In this one, he really helped this team meld together and get some solid finishes and really start improving this team that where they were earlier in the season when they just had TP, and the other three just didn't really mesh together. And at first, I didn't really like how they let go TP, but it made sense because TP wasn't helping, and he even admitted he wasn't helping the group. And the group wasn't really mixing together, so him being let go had to happen. So now this team is one of the more dark horses in the group. And amongst the 32 teams that's in the tournament, I like to say LG is a dark horse, a very interesting dark horse to look out for. They're very entertaining to play, especially when you're playing Search and Destroy on maps like Infection or Breach, when you need a good sniper. Study's known to put out some of the great smart snipes throughout the whole tournament in Orlando. I like his double snipe against Optic, actually, when Optic showing a little bit of their head near B-bomb. Study got one snipe in, another Optic player came out, sniped him too. I think the second one's actually Formal, which was very interesting, who's one of the best snipers in the game. I think they're one of the top S&D guys in all of Call of Duty. I think that their S&D game is very well done. I think they're well informed, they come in, they're aggressive, they get things into really a mission and really dominates it from start to finish usually. Now, during Dream Team, they kind of had a weird time with them. I guess they were a little bit overconfident after beating a team like Optic Gaming, which could happen. So the letdown came at a bad time for them. To lose to a team like Dream Team, which they're good. But I actually thought LG was better. So they have that issue of being overconfident after big wins and not ended up doing as well as they should. But anyway, with that being said, this group, for the most part, is theirs to win. The second team is Mind Freak. Now, Mind Freak only had slight exposure to other teams around the world in tournaments in the Crown Invitational. Crown Invitational was early this year. That was a while back. So they haven't had true exposure to other types of styles that are in European and especially North American. The only things they ended up dealing with in Europe, it was a Millennium. And they dealt with them easily. And so they dealt with Millennium. They got dealt by Millennium pretty easily in that game. So with this Mind Freak team, the team of, sorry about that. Here we go. Mind Freak team of Buzzo, Shocks, Fighter, and Dents. I don't know much else about them, but they've been on the dominant role when you talk about Australia. They swept Australia in both stages. They're one of the oldest teams around, so they have that chemistry between the four of them that are very well done. So I wouldn't took them out of being second. I think actually they will most likely be the second place team because the other two teams in the group, I don't see them doing much of. Fad Games Esports, that was taken from Exertus. That was the former Exertus squad. And they had an okay European year, but nothing to really show a point. That team of Desire, the QV, Vortex, and Hakwe, interesting names. Very interesting names. And you also have Rivals Chiefs Esports, who rivals them in Australia and New Zealand. That team of Chiefs is Dean, Hopi, Rival, and Maka. And they had to end up qualifying through the online qualifier. They went to the stage 2. They qualified it. They ended up, they ended up 5th. They did well during the stage 2 regular season, which were mostly online, which helped them towards qualifying towards a Australia, New Zealand online qualifier for COD Champs. So that helped them out big time. But really, this group is Luminosity's and Mind Freaks to take. So I think the game of the group, I like to call it, is between Mind Freak and Luminosity. That's the interesting game of the group. Because I say most likely LG comes out of that. But, Mind Freak I like to call is a wild card. I don't think most teams know much about them. And they don't really see them play very much, except maybe in stage 2. They haven't even made it to MLG Orlando or Anaheim, which I thought they'll at least make it to Anaheim. Anaheim being not so far away from Australia, only a few hours out, but they didn't make it. But this Mind Freak team is very much a veteran of the group. They've done the good work to win both stage 1 and 2, and they're the most dominant team in their nation. In AU and New Zealand, this is the team. This is the main team you see that everybody takes, that everybody wants to be in their nations. So, right there, they're a pretty good team just by that. I'm just saying their exposure is going to might mess them up. But they're lucky enough to deal with a team like in Chiefs that they already dealt with before in stages during the season of Season 1 and Season 2. So they'll be fine in that factor. So that's why I say that they're going to be in the top 2. I just think LG Mind Freak is definitely the game of the group that people need to look out for and really see how they play. And that goes towards bracket play, and when they play that double elimination bracket after pool play. So we'll see what happens with that group. I think that's pretty, on paper, that's pretty chalk. You know how they say the NCAA tournament, they have chalk going through the first round. So that's pretty chalk right there. Luminosity, Mind Freak, I believe that's going down. Group D. Well, that's an interesting group. The teams in Group D is Ground Zero, who is the former Dream Team Squad, Team Allegiance, Epsilon, and Pulse. Now, Pulse and Epsilon are EU teams, Ground Zero, Team Allegiance are North American. Ground Zero is that squad. It's a very interesting squad that can really have the potential to do well, but can have issues about putting the work in. That team of Chino, Killer, Cinder, and Diabolic, they are a very intriguing set of guys. Especially Killer, who is the leader of this team, oddly enough. Chino may be technically the captain, but they all understand by Killer's words. And I seen him on stream. He's one of the more interesting group members, interesting players throughout all of Call of Duty. Has the most interesting quotes, can rant his butt off, and can really give you some stuff that you know will be on the front pages of either Dexerto or we'll be talking about it in blogs like this. But don't underestimate him. He has great history when he played for the legendary Impact Squad with Merrick's, Karma, and Parasite that led them to a 2013 Call of Duty Championships title. Now, they won a few more titles after that, but not many more. They ended up breaking up after the rise of the Complexities dynasty around that time, and they never really worked together that much since. They've had actually, oddly enough, 3 out of 4 ended up working together on Epsilon for a little bit. So there was that. And then you had here and there. And it was odd because one of the main reasons that was to be said that the original Impact Squad broke up was the bad relationship that Killer had with Parasite. And they ended up working together through Epsilon. So, but hey, relationships sometimes don't matter. It's about teamwork, working together, able to work together enough to win games. And that's what the main importance is. And everybody in Ground Zero seems to work together okay. Chino's one of the most, is a top 5 AR guy. Very calm, very chill, laid back, but he is focused when he wants to be. And he focused a lot. He's been one of the most consistent players on this Ground Zero team, where you are going to see him put up 30 or 40 even on hard points and uplinks. This guy mostly is a slayer. Diabolic is the best SMG guy on this team, but that's where the issues come in. Cinder and Diabolic are pretty inconsistent to the point where they can post double positives, which is 10 plus KD, or they can post double negatives, which is minus 10, we get minus 10 deaths. And that influx of kills and deaths between the two of Cinder and Diabolic really gives headache to Chino and Killer, because they have to end up taking the brunt of that and doing more of the job than it's actually done. So there's that. With that being said, and the trouble that can lead to that, those issues that is going to have during this tournament, which is the tournament, it's the biggest tournament of the year. It's the time of the year where focus comes into play the most. Can they keep it up? Now, they've shown possibility of that. Their run in Stage 2 finals really was a good run. They did great S&D play, that is commendable to Killer's leadership, leadership in S&D, where he can really have those moments to be a good leader. And then what he did in Capture the Flag against FaZe was definitely impressive, where he took it on himself when he was just one man alone, got 4 kills in the span of seconds just to get that flag capture and flag return. that flag cap. And that was indeed amazing. But when they faced up to a solid slaying team like Envy in the final, this Envy team, I'll tell you a bit of it now. This is the second best slaying team in all of COD. I even think they get in moments better. They can even be better than Optic. But when they faced them, pop, 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 it was just as if birds were being shot down by hunters. It was hunting season, basically. And it was in embarrassing to watch. It was heartbreaking to watch because you wanted to see this group before, knowing the mess they had with their organization dream team to do so well, and they went to the final, and all of that to get down 4-1 to, well, a great Envy team. Let's not doubt how great Envy is right now. But the problem is, the influx between Sender and Diabolic. Can they get more consistent? Because I know Diabolic has that potential. People think he really has gotten better and can get better through this tournament. I'm worried about Sender. Can he keep under the pressure that is this? The grand prize is 800 grand. That's double to 2013 where you could only win 4. Then you go back to 2011 where you only could win 100 grand. Well, no, it was 400 grand. 400 grand. This is indeed the biggest prize pool ever in COD esports history. And I don't know if Ground Zero can really keep up with that. And that's frustrating because I like this group as people. I think they're really cool guys, and I really hope them well. But if I think of this as a guy who analyzes this stuff, who looks at what they've done, who looks at what their gameplay is, the inconsistency is where it's going to be troubling for them. Now, for this group, though, I think they'll do fine. I think they will be first in the group. They also have to deal with Pulse Gaming, Kappa, Dens, Get Kid, and Realize. They were also an EU team that had to qualify through They had to qualify through online, and I don't know much about them either. I'm not gonna lie about that. They are one of those EU qualifier teams, and you have finally, like I said, and you have Epsilon as well. They did well throughout most of the stage too. They tried going far in the Summer Masters, but then they came up short in that as well. That team for Epsilon is the team of Moose, Reddy, Sunny B, and Scraps. But team I'm very interested. This is the true wildcard team. Emphasis on wild. This is Team Allegiance. That team of Mochilla, Exotic, Remy, and Royalty is just intriguing to me because now I haven't dealt watching for them much, but I know their history for the most part. Remy was on the Revenge team that turned into the Elevate team that went to the final of COD Champs last year. But early on in Season 2, when they were in Elevate, he was the one booted off, switched off for Felony, and as things picked up for Elevate from there on in, he kind of roved around, was on 100 Thieves for a little bit, and he was a rover. Then he went to Allegiance, joined up. Now with Royalty was in the King Papa team that finally won to get into Stage 2, that turned into the original 100 Thieves with Examples and Johnny, and I want to say it was Royalty, Examples, Johnny, and Nelson. That team broke up very soon after. Well, most of it anyway. And Royalty was the last few people to be on the 100 Thieves before it fully broke up after Season 2. And that wasn't a pretty season by any margin. They were one of the worst teams consistently, even when they switched up, even added eggs. The damage was already done. The damage was already done, and then there was always words about them not being paid from players themselves, and then it was a whole big mess. But now they moved to Allegiance. They fought themselves to depart. They fought themselves through online qualifiers. They did okay during Orlando. They didn't even make it to pool play though. They lost in one of the semifinals in the open bracket. I wanted to see more of them because they were an intriguing team. Now the third guy, Mochilla. Mochilla's kind of in a sense of a mini parasite when you're thinking about relationships and people they want to play with, as in they don't even want to play with. So, but they made it. with this 4, they somehow made it, even when Mochilla likes to complain on stream about how his team doesn't want to play a lot, or when they really don't understand things, and they really go their own way sometimes, and that's really interesting. They made it to COD XP through these mindsets. What if they somehow get it together? Could they be a dangerous team? No, not really. This team has a possibility to make a good run. Now, I'm not saying they're gonna win it. Don't quote me on that. If not, I'd rather be quoted for what I said yesterday about one of the Europeans being being out between Spice and Millennium in their groups early. But you quote me on that one. I really do think that Splice or Millennium, one of those teams, will not make it past the group stage. But don't quote me on saying Legion will make it to a final, or even, they will win a final, or even make it to a final. No, I say that they have a chance to be second. I think this group is Ground Zeroes to win, but second is a good possibility for Team Allegiance. And that game of the tournament for me will be Epsilon versus Team Allegiance. Now, you will also say Ground Zero versus Team Allegiance, but I think Ground Zero will beat them 3-0, take them out easily like that. I don't think that would be much of a game. Team Allegiance against Epsilon for the group. The game of the group right there, because those teams are pretty much even. Epsilon had an okay run during their time in the Call of Duty World League, and then their Summer Masters runs were okay, didn't make the final or even a semifinal. But Team Allegiance is a newly built NA team, so the chemistry and experience that Epsilon has with the 4 they have together can really ended up doing good things and upsetting a newly built NA team like Allegiance or a newly built EU team like Pulse. So there's that. So that is my preview for CMD for the Call of Duty COD XP World Championships. Tomorrow you will see ENF, and that's where things are getting interesting. We're talking about FaZe, Elevate, whole bunch of good teams. Things are really going to go down there. I really like what tomorrow will bring, and I can't wait to talk to you guys about it. Like this video, comment to see how you want to see more, what type of other stuff you want to see more from the channel, and I hope to see from you soon. Till then, this is Charles Spencer, the big man. Peace.